Speaking of food and beverage, Tim Hortons, which Canadians know, but Americans might not, people around the world. It's got a name for itself now.
Beloved.
It's beloved in Canada, and
Yeah.
people seem to know it around the world because I'll see a post from somebody from the U.S. They come to Toronto, got to get that Tim Hortons, and you say, "Oh, okay, so people know what's up." I don't know.
They are in the U.S. too.
They are. They're starting to expand into other places. I know they're in the Middle East a little bit. I saw Tim Hortons in Dubai. Anyway, Tim Hortons, the coffee shop, donut shop, Canadian origin, namesake of a famous NHL hockey player, Tim Horton himself. Tragic death, car accident.
Oh.
I did
Pour one out for him too.
Pour one out for him too. For good old Tim Horton. They're running a commercial right now. Wayne Gretzky gets an autograph from Tim Horton at one of the first Tim Hortons. It's all very sentimental. Anyway, yeah. So the chain keeps going and they keep experimenting. And one of their experiments, it's a big chain. How many Tim Hortons we got in town right here? 20?
Almost every block.
Yeah, 20. In town right here. I'll tell you what. You got a Tim Hortons on every corner, I'll tell you.
Get a donut.
Yeah, you get a donut at Horton. You go see your buddy Horton.
Yeah.
You get yourself a maple dip donut, don't you? Yeah, you do, don't you? And a hot coffee.
Yeah.
And you might even get a Timbit if you were to do it. And what kind of Timbit would you even have? You might have an old-fashioned Timbit.
Yeah.
You might have it. Anyway, so they're experimenting outside the realm of just donuts and coffee, and they have been for a long time. They got into the breakfast sandwiches, as you would, because McDonald's tearing it up all day. All day breakfast. Vin will tell you about it. Yesterday, he comes in, he tells us, he enlightens us on the hash brown issue.
Yeah.
The hash browns stop at a certain time. He's so upset. He was sitting over there, frown on his face. So maybe we'll have him explain how it all works on an upcoming episode. But Tim Hortons has to combat McDonald's locally, and to hold on to your coffee business, you got to serve the breakfast sandwich crowd. I don't know if you knew that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you do. Someone's gonna get a breakfast sandwich, and then they start to pick the place based on the breakfast sandwich and all that, and breakfast wraps as well. Well, Tim Hortons, being experimental, aiming to compete, they were one of the first to add the Beyond Meat products, which are tearing up Wall Street. At least they were. Beyond Meat, this artificial or a meat alternative. Protein, soy-based protein. One of them is soy, one of them is pea protein. Impossible. Plant-based protein in a burger form.
Yes.
People know, people heard. So they put it on the menu across all the breakfast sandwiches, and they even had a burger. Now, a burger at Tim Hortons is a weird vibe for anyone who knows Tim Hortons, because it's a very breakfast, coffee, pastry vibe in there. And then you had a burger, it just felt out of place. So the burger, I kind of understand it would fail, but on the breakfast sandwich side, I thought maybe the Beyond Meat thing takes off. A lot of people talking about it. Turns out, not so hot. Not so hot. More of a BlackBerry situation.
Yeah.
And Tim Hortons, again, massive chain here, tons of locations. They have 4,000 locations in Canada, to which they added Beyond Meat products less than a year ago, and they're already out of the Beyond Meat business. They bailed completely. So at first they got rid of the burger. Now they got rid of the Beyond Meat options on the breakfast sandwiches.
Why do you think that is?
We introduced a plant-based protein as a limited time offer and to test the interest of our guests in having this alternative available. Ultimately, our guests choose to stay with the meat option in their breakfast sandwiches. So,
Do you have any thoughts on that?
well, I believe that, first of all.
Yeah.
If people are coming to the restaurant and they're ordering and they're not ordering it, why are you going to stock it? But then part of me wonders, how much time do you need to convert? What was their threshold? If they said, look, we need 1 in 10 people to go for the Beyond. How long do you need to give people to condition them to perceive it as an option that they're willing to go for? We talked to Vin yesterday after the McDonald's hash brown fiasco. He said, I'm not going to try it. I said, you're not even going to try it? I mean, he's a weird case, obviously.
Yeah.
Very traditional. He's the oldest young man in the world. It's well known. He's a 67-year-old man trapped in a 35-year-old's body. So you can't, it's tough to figure out. But I think a lot of people are like that, where they just said, oh, I'm not going to try that. And maybe they needed a certain number of exposures before I said, all right, fine, I'll give it a crack.
But you said it was like 1 year.
It was less than a year, it says.
Oh, less than a year.
You think that's long enough?
Well, I think 1 year should be good enough, right?
Yeah.
I mean, beyond advertising is just everywhere.
It's a lot of advertising. Good point.
So,
Yeah, and maybe what happened as well, it could be the opposite, where people were willing to give it a shot, but then they never hit it up the second time. Where they came in, they saw the Beyond advertising in the restaurant, and they said, I'm going to try some Beyond Meat on my breakfast sandwich. And then Tim Hortons, they see it in the stats. They go, oh, a lot of people tried it because we were hot in the beginning. And they say, no follow-up? People don't like it. That could be another, of course, we're speculating, but.
no conspiracies there?
Oh, you got a conspiracy? Go ahead.
Well, I told you yesterday
What was your conspiracy?
that these plant-based diets.
Oh,
might not be
right.
as
Yeah,
healthy
they
as
started.
People might think.
Oh, sorry. I apologize.
You know.
Go ahead. It's your moment.
Well, I was just gonna say the material that they use might not have like too much study on it. I mean, we've been eating meat for like hundreds, thousands of years, right?
Well, then more than that, probably.
More than that, yeah.
Yeah.
And like just the fact that they have like these plant-based
Oh, yeah, I see what you're saying.
foods, it's like maybe there's not enough studies.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just saying.
Yeah, well, look, they definitely, with anything that has that amount of hype, you're gonna see an eventual backlash. You're gonna see an alternative opinion at some point. And just like you, shortly after all the hype had simmered a bit, you started to see the alternative viewpoint where nutritionists, there were some various columns by nutritionists saying, look, this stuff is not healthier. Look at the additives, look at the this and that. And so there's definitely the alternative points of view there. I mean, on the flip side, it's going to be people saying, no, it's better. It's like every argument. It has two sides to it.
Yeah.
I wonder, part of me wonders, again, since a lot of people I talked to said, look, I tried it. I wonder if there was a segment of people it didn't sit right with in the belly.
Like physically.
Maybe they said, I ate that Beyond, I don't feel 100.
Yeah.
I mean, it's possible. I don't know. I'm not putting out there as fact. I'm just saying it's possible. It's a different type of protein than you're used to. If you switch it on your breakfast sandwich every day, it might affect you. I don't know. I don't really know. So anyway, point being is it's not all on the upside. Give us a stock check on that. Give us a Beyond Meat stock check. Since we're a business show. Okay, interesting. So not at its peak. Oh yeah, give us a bigger window there. Yeah, year should do. Okay. So I mean it's hanging in there. Could we get an impossible? An impossible, because they're kind of in the same market, obviously.
Impossible
foods. Possible foods.
Are they public?
Did Google just fail? Oh, they're not public? No, I think they're public. I think they're both public. Anyway, point being is they're not quite as hot as they were, and people are starting to question whether or not they are the future of food. I'm sure some people like it. Actually, we should ask people in the comments section if you have tried either the Impossible product or the Beyond Meat product or any other version of it. I want to hear your opinions. Flavor, health, belly feelings, and whether you tried it at all or were willing to try it at all.
Or other like meats. Like they're coming out with pork, right?
Yeah, they're doing pork now.
Yeah.
That would give them beef, pork. Do they have chicken? I don't know what they have. They feel like they can do whatever they want.
Yeah.
You know the next big one though, Will, the real nutcracker is the lab grown meat, which is actually meat. Because these ones kind of felt like that because of their names. Impossible. It sounded so high tech and futuristic. It's like, oh, that's pea protein. People have been doing that. A protein bar, right? I just ate a protein bar, pea protein, been out since 2016. Yeah. So I think it felt cooler than it was, when in reality, the next gen, the crazy one, is going to be that lab grown one.
Lab grown A5 Wagyu.
There. And then we're going to have that on the show.
Yeah.
When we drink our 40s, Colt 45, Old English, and we also pour one out for Blackberry.